Hello there, my name is Lamin Jai and this is News Review. Coming up, 31 people who have been found culpable of various economic crimes by the Janek Commission have been handed different sanctions. We have a report on that. Also, Gambia government is saying that it is shocked by leaks of state secrets. We have a report on that too. Also, frightening sights of crocodiles in Josuang rice fields scares women there. These are some of the reports that we're bringing you. Also, I'll be talking to Mr. Ebou Jallow. Ebou Jallow, a former top shot of the AFPRC junta, will be speaking to me there about the government's decision or the measure that the government has taken against him to pay $1.6 billion in missing Taiwan funds. These and more, but first what we will do, I have Fatou Cisse with me. She will be going through the papers, and from there we'll pick it up from there. Fatou, welcome, and what do we have on the papers today?
Thank you, Lamin. I have the point and the Fourier with me. The top stories are reading: Commission finds that Jammeh wasted over $1 billion. Government places lien on Jammeh associates and institutions. Attorney General returns family diplomatic passports. And the headline reads, Abubakar Batambedu, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, on Friday disclosed that the Commission of Inquiry, widely known as Janek Commission, found that disproportionate amounts of resources were wasted, misappropriated and diverted by former President Jammeh, amounting to at least $1,065,512,000, $304,718,071. Justice Minister Tambedu made this announcement at a press briefing held at his chambers while releasing the 93-page report of the Commission of Inquiry that was established in July 2017 to probe into the financial activities of public bodies, enterprises, and offices with regards to their dealings with former President Yahya Jammeh. Government places lien on Jammeh associates and institutions. The Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Batambedu, on Friday disclosed that the Gambia government has placed lien on the properties of 14 of former President Yahya Jammeh's close associates and institutions. Justice Minister Tambedu made this announcement at a press briefing held at his chambers while releasing the 93-page report of the Commission of Inquiry, which was coined by the press at the Janek Commission. Attorney General returns family diplomatic passports. All diplomatic passports of my family have been returned to the States, the Minister of Justice, Abubakar Tambedu, disclosed to the press on Friday. The diplomatic passports were served for a purpose to facilitate my family to go to Saudi Arabia to assist my mom using wheelchair, he clarified. Before acquiring the diplomatic passports, I sought advice from competent authority if I could apply for them, and I was told yes, he said. I followed the process in the right channel and it was granted, Mr. Tambedu further clarified. There was no dubious deal. My family members continued to use ordinary passports. Everything was transparent, he added. Mr. Tambedu, however, dismissed the call on social media for him to resign. For our top stories, reads, government to generate $1 billion from forfeited assets. U.S. government applauds release of Janek Commission report. Government to generate $1 billion from forfeited assets. Justice Minister. The Minister of Justice, Abubakar Tambedu, has disclosed that the government is expected to generate nearly $1 billion from assets forfeited from ex-President Yahya Jammeh. Justice Minister disclosed this information on Friday, 13th. Information on Friday, 12 September 2019, during the official release of the government stance on the findings of the Janek Commission. U.S. government applauds release of Janek Commission report. The United States government applauds the release by the government of the Gambia of the full report of the Commission of Inquiry into the financial activities of public bodies, enterprises, and offices known as the Janek Commission, as well as the Cabinet White Paper. It is crucial that the asset recovery process be undertaken in a similar, transparent fashion to assure the Gambian people that recovered assets by being properly accounted for and accrue to the public benefit. The government of the United States will continue the work well on the way to pursue available legal means to support the Gambian government's efforts to recover the identified ill-gotten gains. That's all we have for you on the newspapers. Over to you, Lamin.
Thank you very much. But before I take leave of you, I allow you to leave. All the papers are reporting on the Janek Commission developments there.
Right.
What have you been hearing in town with regard to some of the things? We understand 31 people have been handed different sanctions as a result of their assisting the former president in stealing billions of dollars.
Well, people have different opinions on the way he squandered our money. Some are saying it's true and some are saying it's not. So we leave it to, I think we can have something on it tomorrow. We can go out and ask the people about what they think and everything.
Exactly,
right.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Fatou, there for the papers. So now the Gambia government clearly or already has set out measures it has or wishes to take against 31 people who assisted former President Yahya Jammeh in his financial crimes. The Gambia government on Friday released the Janek Commission's report, a 1,600-page document that details how the former president pilfered billions of dollars in state funds during his 22 years rule. A government-wide paper, which was also released on Friday, set down measures the borough administration has or wishes to take against 31 people who have been found to have assisted the former president in committing the crime. More in this report. 31 people are what the Gambia government have and will take measures against. They have been found culpable by the Janek Commission in assisting former President Yahya Jammeh steal billions of dollars in public funds. One man who was always going to be held culpable is General Suleiman Baji. The borough administration describes him as perhaps the most active and trusted associate of former President Yahya Jammeh and says the top general played a central role in cash withdrawals from the Central Bank of the Gambia. The Janek Commission's investigation found General Baji to have misappropriated or diverted $1.3 billion. Consequently, the borough administration says it has decided that General Suleiman Baji is not fit to hold public office and has banned him from holding public office for life. Criminal proceedings for theft, corruption, and economic crimes will also be instituted against him. Former Secretaries General Njogu Bah and Mamadou Sabali, Sirawali Ndaw Njai, Amadou Koli, Basiru Njai, Umi Samba, Savage have all been handed lifetime bans over their roles in the millions of dollars that have gone missing. Former Vice President Aissatou Njai Sedi received a ban of 5 years. Meanwhile, former AFPRC junta top shots of Ebou Jallow, Edward Singate and Yankuba Toure have also received lifetime public office bans. The former military officers have also been handed a 30-day ultimatum to pay back $1.6 billion in Taiwan funds that have gone missing.
Hey, what are you doing here?
I'm going to replace my AfriCell 3G SIM card.
Why use a 3G SIM card when you have a 4G phone? Replace your 3G SIM card today for the real AfriCell 4G SIM and receive 1 GB of internet data for free.
Really?
Yes, get 1 GB for free just by replacing your SIM card at any AfriCell outlet with no loss of contact. The cost of bundle from the 3G SIM card is the same for the 4G SIM. And guess what? With the 4G SIM card, you can also connect to the 3G network as well.
This is so cool. I'll replace my 3G SIM card right away to the real 4G SIM and receive my very own 1 GB for free.
From AfriCell, it's always real and it's for free.
Where AfriCell goes, no one has the speed to follow.
The Janek Commission developments there, 31 people, over 24 people have been sanctioned or will be sanctioned. Some lifetime bans have been placed on them. Some have been banned for life from holding public office for life. Some have been handed lesser punishment, while others criminal proceedings will be instituted, others will be prosecuted over their role in the financial criminality of former President Yahya Jammeh. But I would be speaking with Ebou Jallow. Mr. Jallow is a former AFPRC member, a spokesperson. He was the spokesperson of the AFPRC in 1995. He is someone who has also been indicted by the Janek Commission, and now there's a measure, a very harsh measure against Mr. Jallow by the Gambia government there. I think he's on the line now from the United States. Mr. Jallow, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Njai. How are you on Fatu Network?
I am doing very well, Mr. Jallow. What do you make of the decision there, the sanction against you and two other former senior military officers who have been indicted by the Janek Commission, and now the Gambia government is handed an ultimatum to you and Yankuba Toure and Edward Singate to cough up, if you like, or bring out $1.6 billion in the next 30 days?
First of all, you know, I have always been taking a stance against the commission for the simple fact that it has never been in compliance with the Gambia constitution. And the reason I always say that, and people always lose sight of this simple fact, and at the end of the day, it's going to undermine the entire process, both at the TRRC and the Janek Commission, because the Constitution of the Gambia has a transitional and consequential clause, and that provision states very clearly what is possible and what is not possible as far as whatever has happened during the transition period is concerned.
Yes.
Both commissions deliberately ignored that provision for a reason that they know for themselves, that they better know. I don't know why, but they act like those provisions don't exist. So at the end of the day, it is going to undermine the legitimacy of the Janek Commission and the TRRC. I have been saying this over and over and over again, and they know about it, but they are just hoping for a Hail Mary pass because they think that Gambians are ignorant or nobody's going to challenge them in their courts. But believe me, when people start challenging all these commission reports before the courts, everything is going to fall apart, and it will have been a futile exercise and a total waste of time for the Gambians.
But let me ask you then, Mr. Jallow. You are saying that you are questioning the legitimacy of the Janek Commission, but this is a commission that you participated in, you testified to, you gave testimony to. Why would you do that when you know that this is an illegitimate enterprise? Why would you go and testify in such a commission? Let's start from there.
No, first of all, you see, the commission, they have a mandate. They can call anybody to question you. But if they want to question you concerning some issues that the Constitution says that those actions or whatever happened during that period is sealed, you can tell them that you're not going to answer the question. I chose to go there because I know that I have nothing to hide. And it was a moment for me to tell the Gambians really what the truth is, because there have been so many lies against me and so many misunderstandings. So it was just an opportunity for me, but I could have chosen not to go. They were the ones who begged me to go. It was the Minister of Justice himself.
Who begged you again?
It was the Minister of Justice himself who begged me to come there. I am not joking, and I'm saying this in public.
So Abubakar Tambadou begged you to come to the Janek Commission to testify?
Yes, he did. He did beg me to come. I'm telling you live. Do you understand what I'm saying? It was not like.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem. Then you are saying that, I mean, you went there to clear your name, but your name has not been cleared. If anything, the Janek Commission has found you culpable. And the white paper that was released on Friday, what it said in respect of Ebou Jallow and the other AFPRC top sorts of Yankuba Toure and Edward Singate, is that the commission found the three of you of, spearheading or fronting efforts in building or establishing diplomatic relations with Taiwan in the expectation of obtaining financial aid for your transition program. That is what the Janek Commission said. Is this not true?
Let me tell you one thing. What the Janek Commission said is absolute bullshit. Do you hear what I'm saying? This was their opinion. It is not a court judgment. What they said is not written on stone. It is not the absolute truth. It can be challenged. And a white paper is just a tool for participatory democracy. It can be overturned. It is not law. Do you understand what I'm saying? All they say is their opinion. They have a right to say this is what we think. It is not, it can be challenged in court.
So
personally, myself,
at this juncture, then let me read what the Gambia government, before taking its decision, what it said.
No, you don't
in respect.
Read it. I read it myself. You read it to me.
Yes, for the benefit of our readers, viewers, what I would want to do is to read it out.
Go ahead.
So the statement said Taiwan gave the Gambia a loan of $35 million US. The commission found that Mr. Jallow negotiated for $5 million cash payment of the said loan on the instructions of former President Jammeh, which was brought to the Gambia by special flight and presented to the AFPRC. Such an amount of money, you transported that money, you conveyed it from Taiwan to Gambia, right? $5 million in cash.
Yeah, so what?
So you
a crime?
So you accept that, right? So now the statement continued.
I'm asking you, Mr. Njai, is that a crime?
I would give you what I think later. Let me just finish this. So
okay, go ahead.
In continuing, the Gambia government said Mr. Jallow and Mr. Edward Singate deposited the amount of $2.3 million US at the Central Bank of the Gambia. $2.7 million US has not been accounted for amidst claims that it was handed over to former President Jammeh. And you are the one who handed this money to Jammeh. Mr. Yankuba Ture was responsible for supervising the transition program project. But you are saying you handed this money to the former president. But what is there to show or to prove that Ebou Jallow indeed handed this money, this over $2 million to former President Jammeh?
I don't know what kind of plan. Look, let me explain to you. This was a government. There is nowhere on this planet that says that any money was missing from the $5 million that I brought from Gambia from Taiwan to the Gambia. Do you understand? If that was the case, it would have been known that the $5 million never arrived in the Gambia. So I bring $5 million now. All of a sudden, 20 years later, you want to ask me about what happened to that money? That is stupid. That's look. You know, you cannot. There is nothing you can take to court and this will stick. It is not going to work. This is all based on assumptions and speculations. Nothing has been stolen. I told you where the money is. We took the money, we gave it to Yaya Jammeh, and then we escorted some of it to the central bank. Yaya Jammeh was the head of state. He has the right, if he wants to take the money and protect it. That's his choice. That's his executive decision. He was the head of state. He can do whatever he wants. Now, if you think that was criminal, you can take him in court. Do you understand?
But you know that is what is called aiding and abetting in law. You know that, right?
What is aiding and abetting? Is there any money? Was it stolen?
But clearly that is what the Janek Commission is saying. And now let's get to
That's what I'm telling you. The Janek Commission is talking bullshit. It's talking absolute nonsense.
So now let's get to the most interesting part. The commission found that the AFPRC failed to account for $32,220,000 of the loan from Taiwan, and that they are jointly, that the commission is saying you, Edward Singate, Yankuba Ture, and the former president are jointly and severally liable or answerable for the amounts not accounted for. This is well over $30 million, over $1 billion, $1.5 billion if you like. So, and then the government now is saying Mr. Ebou Jallow, Mr. Edward Singate, and Mr. Yankuba Ture are hereby ordered to pay back to the state the sum of $32,220,000 within 30 days from the publication of this white paper. Of course, that was on Friday. Paper, failing which their property shall be forfeited to the state and sold. The proceeds of sale shall be applied to the payment of the monies for which they are found to be liable in the report, in addition to criminal proceedings to be initiated against them.
Yeah, that's their opinion. Who cares? I don't give a damn what they say.
But you should care. You should care. This is pretty serious. You should care, Mr. Jallow. You should care.
What makes it serious? Is that what?
Because
look,
are you aware? Are you aware that public opinion is against you? A lot of Gambians are saying Mr. Jallow is a thief. Mr. Jallow, bring back our $3 million.
What is public opinion and what is a lot of Gambians? I am talking to Gambians every day, and they all know that this is. I am talking to even cabinet ministers. They know this is absolute bullshit. You're telling me about Gambia. Which Gambians are you talking about? Which Gambian opinion? There is no Gambian that I know that is worth my attention, that thinks that what these people wrote is true. Nobody. One
person that you reserved special anger to is President Adama Barrow. This is someone that you, or until recently, or until last week, has been somebody that you've been supporting. You've been saying a lot of nice things about him, and all of a sudden you came out with this statement, slamming or blasting him, calling him a lame duck president. Why did you do that? Why are you flipping?
What is wrong is, if I call him a lame duck president, doesn't mean I'm angry with him. President Barrow is my friend and my brother. I have a lot of respect for him. Calling him a lame duck is not an insult, no an indictment, no anything else. Is a lame duck is just a lame duck means somebody who cannot do what his real function is supposed to be, because people are feeding him with lies. That's all I'm saying. I have nothing against President Barrow, and I support him just like I support him yesterday. Don't even go there, my brother. That's
but are you disappointed because here is a president he is the one who sanctioned this commission, this investigation, this probe, and he went on air publicly and said and vowed that he was going to implement every recommendation of this commission. And now here you are among the 31 people who the President Barrow is taking action against. So you cannot tell me that you still is your friend, you are happy with him.
Lamin Jai, President Barrow said a lot of things during the course of his presidency that he never fulfilled. In the beginning, he said he was a businessman. He was going to only serve 3 years. Then all of a sudden, he said he's going to serve 5 years. So that's
different. That's different from what we are discussing. That's different from this one.
What is different?
This has to do with public funds, state resources being stolen, being pilfered, being misappropriated, being embezzled. That's pretty serious.
Okay. Hold on, Lamin Jai. Hold on, my brother. You are making very serious allegations. I don't know whether you are aware of what you're doing.
I am not making any allegations here. All I am saying,
Listen to what I'm saying. Listen, my brother, you are a kid. You don't know anything about this world.
Of course.
There is no audit. There is no audit in the Gambia that said that $35 million was missing in that country. Mark you, before you even start a commission of inquiry, they should have audited the books of the country and see with an audit company of international standing should have been there and check all the. There was any discrepancy, and an audit report says that there was some money missing from the 35 million, and this is how it happened. Then I could have understand. But up till today, there is no audit. And Halifa Saleh told them before they even start their commission, he said, you just cannot walk into a commission of inquiry blind. You have to establish a fact before you establish a commission of inquiry. Up till today, there is no audit, zero, that says that money was missing from the 35 million. So what kind of nonsense are you talking about?
Some people would say you have not visited the Gambia for a very long time, and people are saying, okay, Jammeh is gone now, and Mr. Ebou Jallow has not still visited Gambia. Is it the case that you are afraid to come home?
Why am I afraid? I am a United States. I'm a citizen of the United States. I have a home. I don't need to come to Gambia, and that's my personal choice. That's nobody's damn business. Whether I go to Gambia or not is nobody's business.
So what do you make of the lifetime ban then?
What?
The lifetime ban. You have also, are you aware that the Gambia government is saying they have also placed a lifetime ban on you? that you are barred from holding public office for the remainder of your life in the Gambia, of course, not the United States.
I have not been working for the Gambia government for the past 22 years, and I'm still surviving. So who cares?
So you don't care? You don't care?
Why should I care? Gambia government is not doing. They're not feeding me. They are not paying me. I don't need them. I am surviving very well. I am doing excellent. I can go anywhere I want to go in the world. Who cares what the Gambia government says? I don't care. So you are wasting your time.
How because this you are indicted. You were indicted alongside at least two others. Not talking about Jammeh, but Edward Singate and Yankuba Toure.
I am not indicted. Yep. That is not an indictment.
No, I am talking about the Janek Commission report has indicted you. That's a fact.
You have not indicted me, my brother. You have to watch your words. That's an adverse mention. But nobody has indicted me in the country.
This is a decision that has already been taken by the government. Of course, you can go to court and challenge it if you want. That's okay. But what I am saying is, okay, let me ask you this then. That your fellow former junta members, of course, Yankuba Toure is in prison, but the other one, Edward Singate, did you speak with him since this thing came out, this development came out?
I don't have no.
Since the three of you are in this together, yeah.
I have no business with Edward Singate.
Yes.
Do you hear me? I said I have no business with Edward Singate.
I heard you. I heard you there. So now the ultimatum is 30 days. That is what the government, call it whatever you will, call it that they are bluffing but this is the decision that the Gambia government has taken. So from the look of it, you have flatly rejected whatever that decision or measure that the Gambia government has taken against you, and the ultimatum is 30 days. So, well, let's see what will happen.
Well, I also give them an ultimatum of 30 days to clear my name. Otherwise, I am going to take legal action against them. Okay. Because first of all, they made an adverse mention on me. According to the Gambia Constitution, it says very clearly, if a commission of inquiry makes an adverse mention on any person,
yes,
they should give that person a notice to respond before they even submit that report to the president.
Yes.
And they submitted that report in March this year. They submitted the report to the president. 6 months later, they come up with a stupid white paper and still reinforce the nonsense that was written in the report of the Janek Commission. It is illegal, unconstitutional, and is wrong. Do you understand? Let them put that in their head. What they did was unconstitutional, is wrong, and is stupid. Tell that to the Gambia government, and I said that.
The other thing that the Gambia government has also outlined is the issue of properties. Do you have any properties in the Gambia?
That's none of your business.
Do you realize that they will come after your properties? But that's what they are saying.
Don't worry about that. Let me deal with that. That's none of your business.
Mr. Ebou Jallow, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Ebou Jallow there, former spokesperson of the AFPRC junta there. He has been indicted by the Janek Commission. The Gambia government has sanctioned him, has placed sanctions according to a government white paper. Him and at least 2 other former military officers in Yankuba Toure and Edward Singate have been found culpable in financial, the financial misconduct there by former President Jammeh, and they have been given an ultimatum to pay back over $32 million. I think we have someone on the line. Is that Coach Pasama Jau? Oh, I think we have Banka Mane on the line. Mr. Mane, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Lamin. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, Banka. Banka, what do you make of the developments there, the Janek Commission developments there?
I think the Janek Commission did a wonderful job. They should be commended for such a brilliant job, really. I mean, most of us had our concerns in the beginning because we thought, this process, let's see about it. But then afterwards, when we all saw the report, let me tell you something. We got to give them an A+ for an amazing job. Really, we are so proud of this group of people who sat down and put together such a comprehensive report one that really would go down in history as one of the really best projects that Gambia has ever executed. We are so proud of them.
But it's credibility there. You've seen Ebou Jallow. I was just talking to him. Some people are casting doubt on the credibility of this, calling it an illegitimate exercise.
Mm-hmm.
What do you make of that? What do you are saying? They came up with a brilliant report, but if you have a group of people who are also coming out and saying, well, this was not a credible exercise at all.
No, you have to first find out who that nonsense is coming from. That's the question you should ask yourself. I mean, it shouldn't be one of those cases where we can just take anybody's word for it. The only people who have a problem with this report only belong in one group, and that is the group of people who have been found to be liable, who have been found to have stolen Gambian people, taxpayers' money, and people who are culpable. Those are the only group of people you hear that from. The regular Gambian, every Gambian really applauds this report, and we are all excited about the wonderful job that they have done.
Now, let me talk to you about the names. Some of the names, are you surprised at all? You have people like Aissatou Njai Sedi, who made the list of 31 people who have been punished, who have been found culpable or guilty of assisting the former president in this financial delinquency, if you like.
No, I mean, look, a lot of these names have been out there. A lot of these issues have been out there. And, you know, it's not like, I mean, if you go back and look at during the struggle, you watch and listen to all the records and when people were on the radios and the newspapers, the things that they were writing. A lot of these names have been floated around. Now, at the time, say, Aissatou Njai said they will never grant an interview to clear her name, of course. And a lot of these accusations that have been leveled against these folks were being mostly denied. But we're not surprised. I mean, I looked at the list and all the names that I've seen there, there's not a single name there that I looked at, I saw that I felt, oh, wait a minute, this one here, what is he doing or she doing here? And I think most Gambians who follow the struggle, I'm not saying people who were not really following the struggle, but everybody who followed the struggle knew that these names were out there and that these people, they were culpable. The evidence is actually, finally, we are glad the evidence is out for us to see it for what it is.
So now let's talk about the issue of selective justice. That's what some people are calling it. President Adama Barrow in March, when the Janek Commission went to him to submit this report, in a statement that is out there, what he said was quite clear. He said that he was going to implement the recommendations of this commission to the letter without fear or favor. But what we have also seen the Janek Commission recommending certain things and the Gambia government doing something else, saying that some of these people, they are not going to take action against them. For example, in the case of Alhaji Usman Sise, protocol officer at the office of the president. What do you make of that?
Yeah, this is something that actually most people don't appreciate at all. I have to be honest. I mean, I've been talking to a lot of Gambians yesterday on our program on Fat Network and Facebook Live, the 40 People by the People program. We delved into this issue. The fact that the Janek Commission worked on these issues and interviewed so many witnesses, and it was an open, transparent process. Nobody could really indict this process. Everybody knows the job that they have done is explicit and it's really spot on. Now, for them to come out with their recommendations, and the Gambia government itself have been promised us that the recommendations will be fully followed to the letter, and they turn around and then really have what we call sacred cows. That is unacceptable. I think, especially in the case of Alhaji Sise, which is much more explicit, and Mambourou Njai to some extent also clear enough to where everybody, all of us are looking at each other and saying, but wait a minute, what about these two? So I think if they really want to, I would say, preserve the legitimacy and the integrity of this whole process, they really need to go back and revisit what they are doing with those two guys. Something has to be done there that will make at least all of us feel that justice is done, because it would be totally unfair to punish others and then let other people walk scot-free. Now, maybe they have some other considerations that they have at play, but those considerations don't work for us, because this is a national project, and every decision should be based on national considerations, not partisan or individual considerations.
So now, one name that was always going to make this list is the name of Suleiman Baji, General Suleiman Baji. In fact, his name came right after the former presidents. What do you make of, do you think what he got, he deserved it?
What everybody got their deserve. And I hope that their properties, everybody who's been found liable for stealing Gambian people's money, their properties will be seized and criminal proceedings will be executed against them. Because really, these people, what they have done to us, I mean, if you go back and look at it, we can just look at the monetary numbers and kind of, just think it's just numbers. But let's look behind these numbers. The hospitals that don't have any medicine, and your sister or your auntie who died in that hospital because there is no medicine. Your child who is going to those public schools without any education that he can brag of or to be able to make a good living out of. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on of the impact, the roads that have not been built, the mosquito-infested places that were never been taken care of, and the many people who had malaria and died from those sicknesses. We can really take this whole thing and then look at it from that perspective, and you'll be shocked at the kind of impact that and the damage that these people have caused for our country. So really, a lifetime ban here and there, a few properties taken here and there, is even still a little too weak a punishment for the kind of crimes that these people have committed against our country. I think what he got, he deserved, and even more, if I may add.
But there are some people who would say the punishment that people like Momodou Sabally and Joguba got, for example, lifetime bans, for example, is harsh. I know in some countries, for example, the issue of corruption and economic crimes can attract even death. But this is our clime is the Gambia. We live in the Gambia, and you have some people, some commentators who are saying, well, some of the people who have been found culpable, the punishment is a bit harsh. Lifetime bans, barred from holding public office for the rest of their lives is a little harsh.
Well, look, I mean, as far as the Ndogubas and the Momodou Sabalis and the guys who are not on top of the totem pole, if you will, like Jammeh, we can debate about what could have been appropriate. Is it a lifetime ban or just 20-year ban or da-da-da? That's a debate that we can obviously have. I'm happy to have that debate any day. But that there is some kind of punishment that has been meted out against these people, I think is very appropriate, and it's very, very right. It should be a lifetime ban. I am flexible on that, really. I mean, I could understand if somebody says to me, look, it should have been 20 years or maybe 15 years. Somebody is saying it's 10 years. That's fine. That's a debate I'm happy to have, because I think that's a legitimate question, really.
So, and here's the thing. What is certain is that, I mean, the Gambia government should brace for a massive legal battle, because almost all these people would likely challenge this decision in court of course.
Yeah, obviously, if they want to, I mean, they reserve that right and option. But what I am saying here is that these people know that they are guilty. They know what they have done. They have stolen from the Gambian people, or they have participated in they are culpable, and they are accessories, if you will, in these processes by way of helping Yahya Jammeh. So I think anybody who wants to go and challenge this in court, I don't know, maybe they didn't have that choice, but I don't think it will stand any scrutiny anywhere. I listened to Ebou Jallow's interview, and I was shocked that Ebou, of all people, is sitting there and even really throwing insults all over the place. It was stolen from the Gambian people. Let him admit to that and then pay up. And I hope that the Gambian government will come to the United States and execute proceedings against this man for every asset that he has in this country. He shouldn't get away with these things. I mean, and if he thinks he can get away with it, let him think again. I mean, I think he's making a serious miscalculation. This is not the time to get involved in chest beating. He needs to go back and remember that he stole from the Gambian people, and the Gambian taxpayer deserves an answer, deserves to get their money back, deserves, because these people, the damage that they have caused, like I said, is too grave and too serious to just kind of let it slide. And to sit here, really, I was shocked to see him sit here in front of you hurling insults at the Janek Commission, and there's these honorable men and women who did such an...
So finally, do you think, I think I have lost Banker there.
He was doing that.
So finally, I just want to ask you one final question. Do you think the Gambia government has the legs or what it takes, the will, the political will, do you think it is there for it to come out firm, to stand firm and ensure that it delivers on these measures that it has or will take?
Well, we hope so. I mean, we hope so. because now the report is out. The Gambian government itself has made promises, and it seems to be carrying out those promises, at least to a great extent. The two cases notwithstanding, the Cisse and Mamburinjai's case. But the rest of the other cases, really, we are all very proud of the government for the steps that they have taken so far. And we hope that that whole process will continue, not to back down or anything like that. And we'll be watching that process very closely too. We all want to make sure that these folks, like I said, who have perpetrated such heinous crimes against the Gambian people, each and every one of them pay up, because that will set the example for the future of that country, for the future, every future Gambian will remember, because this history will write about this. And when we go back in 20, 30, 40, 50 years, or even 100 years from now, when we are all gone, we are not here anymore, the generation that's going to be here will always use this as a point of reference. They will always go back and say, that moment when people stole from the Gambian people, wreaked havoc on innocent Gambians, what happened to them? What was their fate? And if their fate was, well, they got away with it, well, what is to stop that generation from committing the same crime? So we need to make sure that we set a perfect example, so that anybody who comes after this government, or any government afterwards, will always think twice before perpetrating such a crime against the Gambian people. Without that, we'll have to be it will be repeated. So, and I hope that the government remembers that this is a very heavy historical weight that is on their shoulder, and that they should not squander it. So we are watching. So far, so good. We are keeping our fingers crossed, Lani. We are keeping our fingers crossed.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Banka Mane there. I think Coach should be on the line, but if he's not, we will leave it there and then bring you another story that we have. The Gambia government says it is shocked by persistent leakage of government documents well before they are even due for public consumption. The government spokesperson admits the government is growingly concerned about the developments in the civil service in which public servants are leaking documents before they are due for public view. Detail in this story. Do you have a coach on the line? Is coach on the line? So if we don't have coach, I'm not sure that report is ready. We have another report that we will bring you then. Imagine having to live up with, I think coach is on the line now. Coach, hello.
Hello.
Coach, good afternoon there.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you?
How are you?
Looks like it's been a busy day for you, huh? So,
hello?
Can you hear me, Coach?
Yes, I can, yes.
So quickly, let's start with your take, your assessment of the Janek Commission developments there. 31 people so far have been, found culpable and have been handed different sanctions, from lifetime bans to other bans and to even criminal prosecution.
Well, I am not surprised because definitely Jammeh destroyed our country for 22 years and was very corrupt, and he had people who helped him in that corrupt exercise for that long. So I am not surprised that people were named. So if it comes to that, I will definitely say that the commission did a very great job. And maybe where we become critical is how the recommendations have been handled by the government. But as far as the commission is concerned, and the recommendations, like Banka said earlier, all those that are named, we are not surprised to most of us. So it was a great thing.
But in some people in some quarters are, slamming the whole thing as hogwash. For example, you've heard what Mr. Ebou Jallow was saying there.
Are you surprised that he took that position? Nobody should be surprised.
Not necessarily, because it is only natural that if someone is affected by something, he will probably rely against that decision. That's natural.
Yeah, to me, I don't pay that much attention to that, because I expect him to say that. Just like we hear how the APRC have been dismissive of everything about the commission, calling it unfair and all that stuff. So I'm not surprised by that. But what I know is there was a reason why Gambians were fighting for 22 years. And one of the reasons was the blatant corruption that was practiced by Yaya Jammeh. And that did not just start after APRC came to power. The name APRC came into being. It started from AFPRC. And we know that the Taiwan money that Mr. Jallow is entangled in, was pretty much one of the very start of corruption. So, hey, he has the rights to challenge it in court, and let him challenge it. At the end of the day, one thing that nobody can accuse this commission of doing was that they violated anybody's rights. Everybody testified in open court. The whole nation watched it. The whole world watched it. People were given the opportunities to, in fact, be represented by lawyers at that commission. And when the thing was out, the report was out, the government reached out to all those that were adversely mentioned and said, you know what, you are called to challenge it in court, or you come and see how you're going to settle it. So as far as I'm concerned, everybody who is accused was treated fairly by the commission.
But then, Coach, then let me ask you, don't you think the issue of people in some quarters questioning the credibility of this Janek Commission work could come off as a challenge, for example, for the government, in the government making good on the measures that it has taken against somebody, because we understand even some political parties are questioning the credibility of this?
Well, you know what, fortunately for those questioning it and for the government, we have the judiciary whose duty and responsibility is to adjudicate those challenges. So anybody who feels that you are wrongly accused or named in this report, go to court and challenge it. If you win, great. If you lose, pay us our money back. That's it. So it doesn't matter. I've had this discussion with somebody who is an opposition and said his first thing was, this commission is a joke. I said, how is the commission a joke? He said, you didn't see the white paper. I say, you are mixing two things. The commission and the white paper are two different things. The commission came with recommendations, specific recommendations as to what should be done. The white paper is what government thinks they want to accept and do not accept. So you cannot mix the two. So my thing is, Lamin, anybody that feels that you were wronged in this process, go and challenge it in court. Don't bother me with they are this, they are that. You have the opportunity to do that. Do that. The Gambia is now a country of laws. Actually, people should be grateful. I don't see the government forcing anybody to testify or anything. Most people were spoken to nicely and said, you know what, we want you to testify and all that. But at the end of the day, the commission, the reason why this document is so voluminous, is 1,600 pages, is because of their attached with the exhibits that were used in court, evidences. And if you watch the commission, which we all did, every witness that went there was confronted with evidence, documentary evidence of this was the amount of money that you said you picked up from wherever, this was what was deposited, this was what was given to you, here is your signature, you were a signatory to this account, you opened the account in your name and all that. So those were all there for people to see. So at the end of the day, I don't think this whole thing, you know, it's okay. People can have all their differences and disagreements with it. But the report, as far as I'm concerned, is credible.
So now let me ask you one final question then. Are you fine or are you okay with the way President Barrow or the government, the Barrow administration, is going about in serving this whole thing out? Because what happened is the Janek Commission came up with a set of recommendations. But what we have seen is that the Gambia government has chosen to implement some of these recommendations and then not implement others. For example, what some people are calling the selective justice in the case of Usman Sise and others.
I agree with that. But that is not the commission's problem, that's the government's problem. I believe that the government should implement all recommendations that have been made by the Janek Commission. That's what I believe. And I believe that this whole cacophony story about Usman Sise and the protocol officers cannot stand the test of time. I believe that Usman Sise, like all those that have been mentioned, should be punished according to the report. Now, if Usman Sise believes that he's been unjustly, that is Alaji Sise, he's been unjustly targeted, he can go to court like anybody else and challenge it. And if he is exonerated at the courts, then we'll know that, you know what, at least due process gave him that. But we cannot have a government that want to punish person A and then want to have an excuse to not punish person B. I don't think that sends a good precedent. But again, let's not confuse that with the commission's report, because the commission did what they were supposed to do. They gathered the evidence and they made their recommendations to the government. The government made the moves that they make, but that cannot also be used to blame the commission. I don't know whether I'm making sense, but I agree with that, because I don't believe that there should be any room for selective justice. I believe that the report should be implemented as is, period. Anybody that is found wanting should pay for their price, for their crimes. That's what I believe.
Coach Pasamba Jau, thank you very much there for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Coach there, Coach also chipping into the Janek Commission developments and the steps that have been taken by the Gambia government there. So this is the issue that is dominating headlines. So now we have one or two reports before we end this show. The Gambia government says it is shocked by persistent leakage of government documents well before they are even due for public consumption. The government spokesperson admits the government is growingly concerned about the developments in the civil service in which public servants are leaking public documents or documents before they are due for public view. Detail in this story.
Government spokesperson Ibrahim Sankare, there exists men and women in the civil service who are bent on leaking every document before they are due for public view. Addressing journalists last Friday during a news conference to unveil the Janek Commission report at the Attorney General's Chambers and Ministry of Justice, the government mouthpiece lamented,
It is quite shocking, to say the least, that the document, the report that we are about to unveil has actually been significantly leaked to the press corps, the online press corps. And last night, I had a sleepless night as I saw allegations and counter-allegations from different parties, insinuations as to who may have actually leaked this precious document that everybody was waiting for. So it is quite unfortunate that we have men and women among us in the civil service who are now bent on actually leaking every document before the document is due for public view. It's just unfortunate. And what comes with this is that people who have nothing, absolutely zero, to do with these leakings are maligned, insulted, all kind of garbage, being thrown at them, But then this is a very serious matter. I'm sure the Attorney General has his ways of dealing with it.
The Secretary General and Head of Civil Service, Ebou Jallow, also commenting on the leakage of state secrets, said,
in terms of the leak from the civil service, I don't think this government, I think everybody agrees that this government is very open as far as information is concerned. There is no interest to nuzzle the press. Okay, that has to be very clear. But I think at the same time, we have to understand that there are certain things which may have, some security risk as far as the state is concerned. That is why in all developed democracies, every piece of information has different level of security. Certain things can be available to the public immediately. Other things have to be available, after certain considerations are made.
Meanwhile, the Gambia government is battling with the problem of secrecy as leaks of confidential documents continue unabated. The latest leak has to do with the Minister of Justice, who was for the past few days embroiled in a storm of controversy as a letter seeking for granting of diplomatic passports to his family surfaced on the social media. Reporting for the Fatu Network News Review, this is Momodu Justice Dabo.
So that will be that for today's news review show. We thank you very much for being there. We will see you tomorrow. Until then, Goodbye.